are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sim Racing Media. We are here live with the Midday Racing League at Phoenix International Raceway for round number 4 of the 2023 A portion of the season. And I tell you what, we've got a fantastic show here ready for you today. 100 laps. The first kind of short track deal we've faced all year. We'll see what these guys have in store, but we're going to get ready to talk to a couple of drivers here before we take the green flag. First one we're going to talk to is going to be Matt Metler, off and up in the booth, but this time you're down on the racetrack. Matt, you're really good with the input. What are you feeling here today at Phoenix International Raceway?
Hey, great to be here, kind of changing up the roles, right? Usually I'm up top with you, down on the track. Look forward to Fridays here with these guys. The track right now for me, I'll just be honest with you, man. I'm struggling with this car in general. I have a hard time just feeling, how well the car's entrenched in the racetrack. And I'm struggling finding out where that line is. So that's just something I've been battling here at this racetrack. For me personally, getting into corner entry, that's going to be key. If you miss the mark, the car is really tight right now, at least for me, so the nose just wants to put up the racetrack. And once you start a corner bad, you know what happens there. You're going to pay the price down these straightaways where you need to capitalize on speed. So I think for me, it's just practicing what I preach up there in the booth with you. Race yourself. Don't race the competition. And I think that's part of my problem as well. I'm trying to run at a pace that these guys run at, and they're just so good, as we see week in and week out. And if I think I can just slow down, take my time, hit my marks, I can get up there and have a halfway decent run. But at the end of the day, hey, we've got a lot of laps to run here. You're up in the booth, and looking forward to be out there on the track with these guys.
Absolutely. Before we let you go, just want to ask, how are you feeling about that shortcut through the dog leg? You think that's going to be a viable option throughout the day, or do you think it's going to be better to stay up on the racing surface?
Well, I think the bigger question is it a double-edged sword? And what I mean by that, if you go down there, yes, you can. It's legal. There's not a double yellow. But are the other racers, and are you going to have the situational awareness to remember when you come up on the racetrack, are you going to be clear? Are you going to accidentally take someone else out? If everyone's on the same page there, it can be an asset. I think especially on fresh tires, you can make some time up. But as those tires wear out, it feels like the car gets really unhappy as you come off the banking to the flat. And the other side of that, you better make sure you're clear. Otherwise, you're gonna take someone out early unintentionally, and that's gonna leave a mark. So it just depends. Myself personally, I'm not gonna use it. I just want to focus on hitting my marks on the racetrack and being consistent.
Rock on, Matt. We appreciate you joining us up in here for the final moments of practice. We're going to go ahead and send you back to the pre-race room so you can get qualifying down. But once again, appreciate you joining us up in here, Matt.
Hey, appreciate your time, buddy. I'll see you tomorrow night. Have a great broadcast.
Yes, sir. That was Matt Matler. We were going to go ahead and get with Garrett Kinder, but he was the fastest in practice. But qualifying, getting ready to start up here. We're going to let him get his run in before we get him up into the booth. We appreciate everybody who's tuning in live here on Sim Racing Media's YouTube channel. A little bit after noon on the East Coast, just past 9 a.m. if you're on the Pacific side of the United States. And if you're outside of the States, I'm not even sure what your time zone is, but we appreciate you tuning in regardless. We've got ourselves 2 laps of qualifying here. Garrett Kinder going to be the first one to get onto the track. He must have heard I wanted to interview him. So he's getting it done nice and early. He was quickest in practice. So we'll see if that speed translates throughout the qualifying run. Dave Hunt's also on the racetrack. Don Day as well. Rick Helms just getting out of the pits. TJ Elaine following suit. And Rooster Rodden potentially waiting to see what these guys pull out. But in terms of lap times. But Garrett Kinder, first one to take the green flag, gets down into turn 1 and 2. And I tell you what, I'm going to mess this one up a couple of times throughout the course of this afternoon. I'm still not used to the switcheroo they did on Phoenix. But through 3 and 4, Garrett Kinder, obviously the quickest first sector, as the first one to put one down. Kinder, top of the board. Dave Hunt in second right now with a 27.81, the only other car to put down a lap. Don Day is going to complete his lap right now with a 28.32, puts him in third place. Let's see what Rick Helms comes across the board with, 28.21. Cody McFadden in the 64, that's a newer face. Gets up into third place, and now Dave Hunt, once again in that 53, jumps up to complete his second lap in the pole position. 27.57 is the pole time for Garrett Kinder. And, well, as he finishes up his timing, his lap here, we'll go ahead and see if we can't pull him up into the booth. That's Garrett Kinder. I'm Liam up in the booth. How you doing, man?
Doing all right so far.
Rock on. You were quickest in practice. You're so far quickest on the timing charts. How are you feeling about that race car? I know we talked a little bit pre-race, and you said you would be flirting with that wall quite a bit, and not in the fun way.
Yeah, it'll build looser and looser as it goes on. These cars are just hazardous to catch whenever they start getting loose. But yeah, Kinder Farm and Ranch Ratchet Speed Shop Ford Mustang is feeling pretty fast today. Feel pretty good about that lap time. I think it might hold for that pole. hope it does. That way we can get out front, stay out front, and hopefully not have to deal with anything back behind us.
Yeah, absolutely. That 13 machine is looking strong. What do you think it takes to be successful here? I mean, I guess I know we talked before, and you weren't too fond of this track, but
I'm really not. It's a balanced track. So if you run one line, if you run low, low, low the whole time, it's absolutely gonna eat up your tire, your right front tire. If you start changing your lineup and you run middle to low, especially turns or through turns 1 and 2, there's a lot of games you can play down to 1 and 2 about wearing different tires down and just kind of getting your car to feel the way you want it to. You could do the diamond in, middle to low, just all kinds of stuff down there. I think you'll see a lot of guys running that middle to low and a lot of guys wrapping bottom down there in 1 and 2. So basically, it's going to be tire wear, keeping your tire wear even, and just maintaining a consistent lap time. You can lay down some burners, but absolutely shred your tires doing so.
well, rock on, Garrett. We definitely appreciate your input. We'll get you sent back to the rest of the group before the race starts here. But so
I
far,
appreciate
sitting on
you.
the pole, that's Garrett Kinder. Rooster Rodden sits in second. Dave Hunt, Cody McFadden, William George, Craig Davidson, TJ Elaine, Rick Helms, Matt Sisler, Don Day, and Matt Metler. Don Day rounds out your top 10. Matt Metler, then Joe Nelson, Nick Atwood, rounding out the rest of the field. So 13 of the next gen's best getting ready to do battle here on a Friday afternoon just for you folks. I tell you what, I am super stoked to be a part of this. Phoenix is going to be the first attempt, or the first try here, at a short track. Well, it's just over a mile, just about a mile. Still kind of falls into that short track category. These guys are going to have themselves a tough time with a bit of extra power. And definitely not as much space as you're used to in terms of getting into lap traffic. So it sits at just over 1 mile. It says 1.1 or 1.01 miles here. It's a 78-degree day. That track temp sitting at 104 degrees might leave a little bit more to be desired in terms of grip for these drivers. Partly cloudy. We might see a bit of cloud cover come out throughout the course of the race, but obviously nothing weather inducing, nothing of the sort. No major wind either way, north, south, east, or west. So these drivers should be in for a fairly straightforward show. But we'll see who can get the job done today. Kyle Westwood got it done in Vegas. Who's going to take the dub in the duel in the desert here? Phoenix International Raceway. This field is just about ready to get set, waiting on one more driver to get to the PC and ready to rock and rumble here. Still got 30 seconds to go. Well, now Matt Metler has joined the group, and we are going to be ready to rock and roll here. The pace car is going to get the job done, or rather going to get the field rolling off here. Talk about who got the job done. It's going to be Garrett Kinder in that number 13 machine with a 27.56. Rooster Rodden sits in second. Dave Hunt in third. Cody McFadden rounds out that second row. Then William George and Craig Davidson in row number 3. TJ Elaine, Rick Helms, Matt Sisler, Don Day, Matt Metler, Nick Atwood, and then we've got Joe Nelson rounding out the field. But the pace car's already gone off the track. It's over a mile, so we've only got the one pace lap, and this is the longest wait you could have to take the green flag. The pace car takes the pit lane halfway through the lap, You've got to work all the way down the back straightaway, all the way through 3 and 4 before you can take the green flag. Garrett Kinder is ready, though. Gets up into that Geico restart zone, and green flag is out. Garrett Kinder's hard up on the throttle. He's going to have himself about a car length and a half, and all the way down to the inside was the 91 of William George. George around. Heavy damage to that machine. Tried to take the dogleg there on the initial start. Huge damage to that 91 machine. We'll take a look at that when we can in just a few moments here. But right now, Garrett Kinder leads the race over Rooster Rodden and Dave Hunt, battling side by side for second place. And now Dave Hunt gets up out of the transition. We've got a big crash. Cody McFadden's up involved in this as well in the 64. We are still green right now. These crashes seem to have happened up off of the racing surface, so we stay... Nope, caution has come out now. That's an admin yellow. And for good reason, we're going to go ahead and dissect what happened there for the first couple of laps here. We'll start with the green flag and jump on to William George. Sitting at 5th place. He's going to jump down to the inside right away, and it's going to turn him to the inside wall. Immediately gets turned, can't do anything, hits that inside wall a ton, straightens up on the racetrack so a caution doesn't fall because of it. We got Rooster Rodden, Cody McFadden, and Dave Hunt all end up getting involved in the same incident here. So Dave Hunt gets up out of the apron, gets him sideways. I'm not sure what happened there with the Rodden machine. That's a right front toe link broken for sure on that 01. He might have just gotten loose throughout the course of the tri-oval there, and nowhere for that 64 Cody McFadden to go. So we'll take one last quick look here. Garrett Kinder holds on to the race lead right now. Still a couple of laps before the green flag is going to come out. Craig Davidson sits in second, then Rick Helms, Matt Sisler, Don Day, Nick Atwood, Matt Metler, Joe Nelson, Rooster Rodden, and Dave Hunt rounding out your top 10. TJ Allain just coming out of the pit lane. Not sure if he had some early damage or anything of the sort. Either way, TJ comes in early to get some tires, and now gets pretty close to rubbing doors with his teammate there, William George. George obviously went around early on. Now Cody McFadden, or not Cody McFadden. Cody is in the pits. Dave Hunt, rather, comes in the pits this time. McFadden might have gotten his fast repair done there just to stay on the lead lap. William George, however, remains the only car one lap down. So early on in this race, obviously drivers lapped due to contact and early deals on the start. The lights are off on the pace car, though. These guys getting ready to double up. Garrett Kinder is going to take the inside. He's going to have the 9 of Craig Davidson to his outside. And Rick Helms, Matt Sisler, and Nick Atwood rounding out your top 5. Don Day, Matt Metler, Joe Nelson, Rooster Rodden, and TJ Allain round out your top 10. Cody McFadden getting up to the back of this field. Dave Hunt trying to get up to the back of this group. He might be able to before this green flag comes out. William George out on the racetrack, but he is going to be relying on a free pass to try to get him back up onto the lead lap. All 13 drivers still on the racetrack, only 6 laps in out of 100 here at Phoenix International Raceway. And green flag is out once again. Garrett Kinder, hard on the gas, gets about 2 car lengths over second place Craig Davidson. Side by side for third with Rick Helms and Matt Sisler. Sisler working that outside quite well. Helms slides up just a little bit. Can Sisler rock the outside well enough to keep that momentum? It looks like he's going to be able to, as Helms has to drop in behind him. Drop in a little bit further back, and we've got Matt Metler down to the inside of Joe Nelson. Nelson goes wide about a couple of car widths up off the bottom. Nelson with a strong run down to the... A strong run now as they are 3 wide behind him. They were momentarily. TJ Elaine working the top side of Matt Metler, and now that 64 machine, who we saw get sideways early on, is also on the attack on the outside of that number 93 Dodge Challenger. There goes Dave Hunt as well to the outside. Rick Helms sitting in 4th place under fire from that 23 machine of Nick Atwood. Atwood wants to try to take another spot away in the top 5, especially with Don Day sitting right up on his bumper. Now, as I say that, Nick Atwood gets sideways coming up off of turn 2. Now he's all of a sudden under fire from Joe Nelson up on the top side. Nelson's been working that outside a couple of laps. So far, so good for that 44 machine. Not quite able to take that position or get position to make a move for it, but now we see TJ Elaine under fire from Dave Hunt. Corner exit's going to be big for these guys. Seems like that's where a majority of the looseness comes from, is right there on corner exit. Especially coming up off of turn number 2, that transition from the banking up to the flat, and it's much flatter there on the back straightaway. That transition is definitely going to upset some of these race cars. Matt Sisler has worked his way up to 3rd place. Craig Davidson just in front of him by about half a second. Garrett Kinder out front by a mile. Talked to Kinder a little bit before the race. Obviously, we spoke to him after his qualifying run, but he's not fond of this track. He seemed to think that his best finishing place was going to be the wall, but right now he is proving himself wrong, sitting with just over a 1.5 second lead over Craig Davidson. Matt Sisler not far behind. Rick Helms defending from Don Day, and Day has Nick Atwood all over that rear bumper. McFadden working the inside of Joe Nelson. We've seen Joe work that top side. He seems to like it up there, but it might not be as quick as he wants it to be. Now Rooster Rodden jumped all the way down to the inside, down the front straightaway, using up a bit of that dog leg, trying to take that shortcut. Hunt down to the inside of McFadden now. These guys get awfully close coming up off of turn number 4. There's the 91 TJ Lane trying to utilize that bottom side, utilize the shorter distance through the dogleg. They're side by side just behind these guys, but still Joe Nelson trying to defend and now has to concede from the 64 of Cody McFadden. TJ Lane jumps out of line down to the bottom side. Garrett Kinder has extended his lead by quite a bit. It is 2.25 seconds over Craig Davidson, sitting in second place. Atwood gets loose up off of 2 once again. That man is absolutely on it, 100%. Now here comes the 64, trying to find a way around him. Looks to the top side, and just as I say Atwood is on it, he seems to have some sort of problem. He's way off the pace. He might be coming to pit lane. Avoids pit lane at the last second, but obviously deciding it's best to get out of the way of everybody. Tough break for that 23. We'll try to keep you updated as quick as we can. TJ Lane, however, works down to the bottom. He's going to have a nice gap up in front of these 3 cars. Get around them. See if he can chase down the top 7 in front of him. Dave Hunt all over the back bumper of Cody McFadden. Now he looks down to the inside. Seems to have a pretty strong bottom side of turns 1 and 2. Not quite enough speed to get that side drop, but dives it in deep. Almost going to pull off a slide drop. He's going to be clear right now and stays clear up off the corner. Put Dave Hunt up into 6th place. And he's got Don Day and Rick Helms fighting super hard right in front of him. This could be exactly what he needs to try to take away a top 5 position. Jay goes way up the racetrack, and that's just going to gift that 53 machine the 6th spot. And now Rick Helms is under fire for that top 5 position. Dave has been strong on the bottom, looks down to the bottom into 3 and 4. It's tough to enter on the top side in 3 and 4, and we've seen that play out plenty of times. However, the exit is strong. Rick Helms trying to hold on to that exit, unable to. Dave Hunt now moves up into 4th place. Rather, Rick Helms still holding on to a top 5 position. Now Dave Hunt, he's getting ever so much closer to your leader, Garrett Kinder. We've obviously got a long way to go. Only 22 laps through of 100. Dave Hunt sits in 3rd place, just under 4 seconds off the race lead of Garrett Kinder. Garrett has led every lap so far and has not looked back from the initial start and that first restart. Craig Davidson sits in 2nd place, about 3.5, 4 now seconds back. Matt Sisler won the first 2 races. Couldn't get the job done in Las Vegas, hoping to go 3 for 4 here today. And then Dave Hunt. Dave had himself a strong couple of passes here. He's sitting 1 spot down from where he started, but still a strong run there for Dave Hunt. I believe this is the first time we've seen him all season. Rick Helms sitting in 5th place. He's had himself a couple of top 5s so far this year. Calls himself the old man of the group, trying to stay up in that top 5 and prove that the oldies can still get it done. Cody McFadden, another driver that we haven't seen before, rocking that 6th position. Got TJ Elaine all over him, but Cody McFadden not doing too bad in that iBuyPower Chevy Camaro, as you see TJ Elaine just behind him getting wildly loose coming up off of turn 2. Keeps it straight and keeps the 91 behind him. Obviously that 91 1 lap down. That's William George, kind of a teammate there. Rooster Rodden passing the lapped car, getting down up onto the apron, onto the flat surface of the dogleg. Taking a little bit of that shortcut and still trying to work over the 91 William George. That's Rooster Rodden sitting in 8th place. Joe Nelson Just gets around Don Day. And now here comes Nick Atwood looking down to the inside of Nelson. The outside seems to be better if you can get the run up off, but the inside is so much cleaner, so much faster on the entry. Seeing both of these things playing out, especially up front with Matt Sisler and Dave Hunt. Actually, Matt Sisler has gotten up into second place, and Dave Hunt is all over the back bumper of him. Craig Davidson has fallen back to fourth. Rick Helms looking to chase him down. Last two drivers we didn't get to talk about, well, rather three. Don Day sitting in 11th, Matt Metler up in 12th, and then William George just gets a shot there from Rooster Rodden. He sits rounding out the field, but he's about 7th on the racetrack right now as Garrett Kinder continues to lead. 28 laps complete, rocking lap number 29 out of 100 here at Phoenix. Appreciate everybody tuning in here on the Sim Racing Media YouTube channel. This is the Midday Racing League, round number 4 at Phoenix. You're seeing 13 of the next gen's best get the job done here at Phoenix, and Garrett Kinder holds on to a 5.5 second lead over the rest of them. Dave Hunt all over the back of Matt Sisler. Now looks to the inside. Might have gotten in a little bit too deep to be able to hold that position. Right up on the rear bumper of Sisler. They both get sideways coming up off the corner. Now Dave Hunt has to make a major correction. Matt Sisler is able to get away okay. Now Dave Hunt with a huge correction, able to keep it straight down the back straightaway. That shuffled him up, but that's going to give Garrett Kinder now over a 6-second lead here on lap 31, coming to 32 out of 100. And with that, we're going to go ahead and take a quick side-by-side break. You won't miss a thing, but we're going to pay some bills. We'll be right back here on Sim Racing Media. Back live here at Phoenix, and things starting to heat up once again. We're watching Nick Atwood and TJ Lane racing for the top 10 position. Joe Nelson getting out here trying as well to race up here for the top 10. Side by side there with the Lane, and it looks like right behind him a little bit of contact with the wall for Don Day. Garrett Kinder continues to lead this race. So Kinder leads. Matt Sisler sits in second, just 6 seconds back. Dave Hunt now looks back to the inside. I say just 6 seconds like it's not much. But compared to what we saw before we went to break, it was increasing and now it's stabilized. Now Dave Hunt able to take second place away from Matt Sisler. Craig Davidson sits in fourth and Rooster Rodden rounding out your top five, but Rick Helms and the 64 of Cody McFadden are hot on his tail right now for that fifth place. Nick Atwood, Joe Nelson, TJ Elaine up into the wall hard. Stopped up out of the racetrack, and that's going to bring out a caution. Even though TJ got to the pits, it was almost simultaneous that caution flag came out with that stopped car up on top. The caution comes out for the second time today here at lap 38. William George should be the beneficiary of the free pass. John Day a few laps down after that wall contact that we mentioned came down to the pit lane. A little bit further back here. He just got in there a little bit too deep. Got sideways. Couldn't correct it. That broke a toe link as well. So he slammed on the brakes. And yeah, unfortunately that stopped car on the racetrack went ahead, brought out the caution. So in terms of pit stops, Dave Hunt has stayed out. Interesting call there. Garrett Kinder, Matt Sisler, Rooster Rodden all in the pits and out. Kinder, Sisler, Davidson, Rodden, Helms is the way they come off of the pit lane. Then McFadden, Atwood, Nelson, Mettler still on the pit lane, and William George getting his lap back. Going to be able to come in next time around, I believe. Keep you updated on that. Dave Hunt holds on to the race lead. I don't know if he's assuming there's another pit stop coming or not. His last pit lap was 5. So he's got 35 laps on his tires. Be interesting to see what that 53 team has in store for the rest of us here today. Lights are still on the pace car. Kinder jumps up to the top. Looks to be passing Don Day, who now gets sent to the back. Being down a lap, William George and Nick Atwood are in the pits, both coming up off. Rather, George just got in, taking that free pass. George is up out of the pits. Coming across the line, I'm sure, to take one to green. And Dave Hunt, on 35 lap old tires, is going to lead over Garrett Kinder, Matt Sisler, Craig Davidson, and Rooster Rodden, rounding out your top 5. Then we've got Rick Helms, Cody McFadden, Joe Nelson, Matt Mettler, and Nick Atwood, rounding out the top 10. William George, Don Day, and TJ Elaine finish out the field. We're going to watch that pace car make the hard left turn. These guys are going to have, once again, the longest wait. Half a lap between the pace car going off and the green flag coming out. Dave Hunt going to lead him down on older tires. We'll see how this one plays out. Garrett Kinder for the first time today not leading the race. Guys into the zone, past the zone. Green flag is out, and a strong start for that 13 machine. There goes Matt Sisler all the way down to the bottom to start this thing. 3 wide for the race lead, but Garrett Kinder strong up on the top side. He's going to go ahead and take it away. Matt Sisler works the inside of Dave Hunt. Hunt has nothing to do on those old tires. He's being passed 3 wide right now. As a matter of fact, not quite 3 wide. Craig Davidson thinks better of it, but now Davidson moves to his inside. Now it is 3 wide. Rick Helms follows suit behind these guys, so now it's a top 2 of Garrett Kinder and Matt Sisler, as already Dave Hunt has fallen back to 7th place from his initial restarting spot of 1st place. Matt Metler and William George and Nick Atwood all lining up to try to take advantage of this as well. Joe Nelson not too far behind. Whistler looks down to the inside of Kinder. Nothing doing this time. Kinder able to get up a strong run coming up off that corner, but both of those guys up front wiggled just a little bit. Now here comes Rooster Rodden down to the inside of Matt Sisler. Nothing doing there either. Didn't quite have the entry he wanted to keep that space, or keep the position rather, on that 00. And these guys all sitting at a stalemate up in the top 5. The Atwood trailing George there. Now we jump up to Cody McFadden, trying to chase down Rooster Rodden up in the top 4. Cody is a newer face to this league, hoping to make a splash in his first drive here. Rooster Rodden trying to prevent that, at least in terms of a podium spot for that 64 machine. But when it comes to racing up off a turn 2, that time around, the 64 seems super strong compared to the 01. Rooster Rodden rather. Take a moment to ride on the nose just up on that front bumper of the 64 Cody McFadden. Actually, we'll go ahead and let you guys hear the sound of the iRacing machines with a quick Turn It Up session. Sponsored by Sim Racing Media. All right, well, 1 to green here. Sorry for the previous mic issue, but we should be all good to go here. Garrett Kinder won the race off pit road. Joe Nelson made the choice to pit after leading a lap. So it goes Rooster Rodden in second, Cody McFadden, Craig Davidson, Rick Helms rounding out your top 5. Then we've got Nick Atwood, Dave Hunt, Matt Metler, Joe Nelson, and Matt Sisler rounding out your top 10. Also the cars on the lead lap. Don Day, William George, and TJ Elaine. Don Day on the racetrack. George and Elaine, the 19 and 91, not on the racetrack right now. So tough break for them. Doesn't seem like they'll be able to finish. Meanwhile, Garrett Kinder, he's got 42 laps to try to keep these guys behind him. He's been the majority leader so far. Getting up into the Geico restart zone. He gets on it early, and a big gap already gained for that 13 machine as they go side by side for second. Matt Sisler jumps all the way down to the bottom to try to gain a couple of spots there. Passes Joe Nelson. Gets up into 8th place. Side by side for 3rd place with Cody McFadden and Craig Davidson. McFadden looks down to the bottom side now of the 0-1 machine of Rooster Rodden. That 9 might have side drafted him just enough to pull him back. Now the 9 goes a little bit wide, Craig Davidson, as the 64 tries to come up the racetrack. Not enough racetrack for him to use with that 9 up on his top side. Sideways hits the 9 up into the wall hard. Goes the 9 of Craig Davidson. We'll see if that broke a toe link or anything like that. He seems to be okay moving forward. Cuts down to the bottom side, and now Dave Hunt moves down to his inside. Dave Hunt, we saw stay out, tried to save a set of tires there. Didn't quite work for him, but now he's back on the same strategy as these race leaders. We'll see if he's able to... Oh, and now sideways gets the 53 hard into the inside wall. Dave Hunt definitely destroys the inside toe link of that machine. That left front toe link destroyed. Dave Hunt is going to be out of the race. 40 laps to go, coming to 39 to go. Garrett Kinder leads Rooster Rodden. And I tell you what, we're seeing adversity, or not necessarily adversity, might not be the right word, but definitely seeing a lot of it. I'm trying to think of the word. We're seeing a lot of cars fall out of the race, especially later on, especially Dave Hunt being one of the faster drivers throughout the course of this race, falling out. That's going to be important later on. Lap 63 out of 100, though. Garrett Kinder has been virtually unstoppable. We talked to him a little bit before the race, and he was not fond of this racetrack. He's talked about having a date with the wall, and doesn't seem to be the case at all today so far. I mean, there's obviously quite some time to go, 35 miles to go, as you see the 0-1 just scrape the wall there coming up off of turns 3 and 4. Garrett Kinder holding on to the race lead, putting on an absolute masterclass at Phoenix International Raceway. Dave Hunt has come into the pits. Just that extra second right there, that extra second to wait on getting on the throttle, that was the major component to gaining time there on that 0-1 machine of Rooster Rodden. Rodden now gets down to the inside. You saw him get a little bit sideways there, entering the corner. Rodden tries to stay down a little bit lower. He's got a good idea with the line, but he's using a little bit too much tire, and it's really tough when you sit in the dirty air with these cars. I know it's a short track, and you don't really think about a whole heck of a lot of dirty air, but with the amount of downforce that the underbody makes on these cars, it is super tough when you get in behind somebody, especially on a key moment like that on corner exit. You saw Garrett Kinder cut down across the wake that 0-1 would have been getting in. Now 0-1 Rodden getting on the gas a little bit too soon, has to let up off the corner. Gives that 13 a bit more of an advantage. Kinder's just rocking himself a good line. Rodden is He's playing hard right now. He's trying to catch up. He's trying to get close so he can put some pressure on that 13 machine. For right now, it looks like Garrett Kinder. Oh, deep into the corner goes that 0-1 machine of Ronan. That might have gotten Kinder a little bit loose, a little bit nervous. Rodden goes in deep once again, is getting super close here, and now he's within a car length. Garrett Kinder, he's got himself a good exit, maybe not quite phenomenal. Here comes Rodden back down to the bottom to try to get into the gas a little bit sooner. Sits about a quarter second off. Rodden deep on entry. He's just got to wait a touch longer on throttle. Right there, you saw the 13 get a little bit loose. But so far, Garrett Kinder has been phenomenal in holding on to this race lead. Just running where he wants to, running where is comfortable for his car, because he knows the car behind him is the one who's got to do the work. He's the one who's got to chase him down. Three car lengths this time around. The gap has really not changed a whole heck of a lot. It's been within a car length and a half for sure, as Kinder gets a little bit wide there up into the corner. I don't think it's going to hurt him. Man, maybe that was on purpose, as Rooster Rodden is now falling closer into the grips of Corey McFadden. McFadden trying to take a wide entry and a low exit. Not quite enough to get a run up on that 0-1. As a matter of fact, the 0-1 gets a touch of a run on Garrett Kinder. We'll jump back a little bit further as we've got Rick Helms and Matt Sisler side by side. Sisler's got himself some damage on that race car. Helms trying to work that top side once again through 3 and 4. He's going to be able to clear Matt Sisler, but Sisler jumps all the way down to the apron. Trying to take the shorter distance, doesn't quite have the speed, but that allows him to stay with Rick Helms. Now, Helms up on that top side. Still side by side with Sisler. This is a battle for 4th. Up the racetrack goes Nick Atwood. That's going to allow the 9 to get around him. Craig Davidson, he's sitting 1 lap down, but he's got himself a solid front row seat to this battle up in front of him. Sisler able to get in front of Rick Helms for now, but how long is this going to last? McFadden has fallen off a little bit off of Rodden. Garrett Kinder continues to hold on to the race lead. We've got 25 laps to go this time by. Rodden gets closer, coming up off of turn 2. Dives it in deep into the corner, and you've got to wonder if his strategy is maybe to pull that chrome horn. Stays within 2 car lengths. This is the closest we've seen these guys in a couple of laps. Kinder goes wide. Rodden follows him. Rodden gets down low, tries to stay out of the air. It seems like it's going to work out for him so far, but the 13 strong up off the corner. It's 3/10 at the line. Rodden follows up the racetrack once again. Meanwhile, Cody McFadden right behind these guys. You can still see him on your camera. Trying to rock an outside lane to get some momentum. This time Garrett Kinder gets all the way down to the bottom. He's going to be able to cut off that line, get into, or create a wake rather for the 0-1 Justin Rodden. But Rooster's not letting up. He's got a little bit closer coming up off of turns 3 and 4. And now he's going in deep up on the top side. Gonna try to cut down, get himself a good run up off. Is that gonna work up against that 13 of Garrett Kinder? He's been virtually flawless all day. Goes way wide coming through 3 and 4 right there. That's gonna give Rodden everything that he lost in that last corner. 20 laps to go this next time by, and it looks like Rodden might be able to work with this draft, might be able to work in this wake of the 13. If he can get around him, that might seal the deal, but I tell you what, that 13 sits strong in defense. Passing somebody and catching somebody are two completely different tasks, so even if that 0-1 can get to the back bumper of the 13, it might not be enough. We've still got a ways to go. 19 miles, 19 laps here coming from Phoenix. And now, big lead there from Garrett Kinder in these last couple of corners. He's extended that gap to over a second over Rooster Rodden. And now Rodden falling into the grasps of Cody McFadden. Go ahead and take one last break here before this comes to a close, and we'll be right back with the finish here on Sim Racing Media. I think we've seen that one enough time. Matt Sisler is defending from the 9 machine. That 9 is actually one lap down. That's Craig Davidson. Garrett Kinder, 13 laps to go. He's rolling away with this. He's got a second and a half over Rooster Rodden. Then Cody McFadden sits in third. Matt Sisler and Rick Helms rounding out your top 5. Sisler, the closest couple of cars on the racetrack. Actually, you see that Joe Nelson goes to the inside of Nick Atwood. Atwood's got the wall coming up off of turn 2, and that's going to give Joe Nelson that position. So 12 laps to go for your race leader, Garrett Kinder. Continues to increase that gap, and I'd just have to say Rooster has used up all of his stuff at the first half of this run and is now just trying to survive. McFadden might be in a similar spot. We've seen him jump up through the field quite a bit throughout the course of this day, but sits in 3rd place, unable to move forward. He's got himself about 3 seconds back to Matt Sisler. Sisler, a guy who we've seen strong all year. He won at Daytona with a little bit of a pass in the grass while everybody in front of him crashed. But then he showed up to Auto Club, got the job done. Couldn't quite get her done last week, sat on the podium, 3rd place. So if he's unable to get up in front of, or two rather, get 2 and up front of Cody McFadden, this will be his first time of the year not on the podium. I tell you what, that's going to be a tough task with 10 laps to go, 2.5 seconds to chase down 3rd place. What doesn't look like a tough task, though, is Garrett Kinder's task. He's just got to run 9 laps without making a mistake. And I tell you what, that's easier said than done, especially in these cars. It's a 1.5 seconds is the gap back to the 0-1 of Rooster Rodden. Rodden a little bit quicker these last couple times around, but doesn't seem to be enough as these guys work 8 laps to go here at Phoenix. That's that 13 machine running all the way up next to the wall at the apex of the corner. See him getting a little bit squirrely coming up off, but still about 1.4 in front of Rooster Rodden. Get on board with Rodden here. Six laps to go. He's just unable to get closer to the back bumper of that 13 machine. And you can hear him doing everything he can. He's shifting down. He's changing lines, trying to get everything he can on throttle. That corner, it seemed to work, but it's just too little too late. Five to go, 1.2 is the gap. From Kinder back to Rodden. Rodden closing it down just a touch there, but it just doesn't seem to be enough. Kinder with a big struggle there up off the corner. That puts Rodden super close now, within half a second. Look at how close these cars are now. And you've got to wonder if maybe Kinder used up a lot of his stuff trying to hold on to his gap. He's struggling coming up out of these corners. Sideways there. Sideways coming up off. It's still half a second. 3 laps to go. There goes the 0-1 down to the bottom side. Way down to the bottom. Lost a bit of speed there. Going to be 2 laps to go this time by. Rooster Rodden has closed down quite a bit in these last few laps. I think it's still going to take a mistake out of the 13, though. Up the racetrack he goes. Rodden able to gain a 10th that corner. Goes down all the way to the bottom. Seems to hurt his speed when he gets down there, though. Every time he hits that transition, it hurts his car. Not able to gain that much that time around through 1 and 2 rather, through 3 and 4 this time. Garrett takes an easy entry. Couple of lappers in front of him here. Gonna be white flag in the air. And this is the closest Rooster's been. Can he potentially put some pressure on that 13 machine? Rooster slides up, jumps down to the bottom. He's got a nice exit. Sideways is the 13. Is it going to be enough? Not anywhere near as close as you want to be if you're going to try to make a move. And it looks like this is Garrett Kinder's race to lose. Coming up off of turn number 4. Rooster does everything he can. Smacks the wall. But Garrett Kinder's going to get the job done. Cody McFadden takes away 3rd. Matt Sisler. And then Rick Helms rounds out your top 5. Joe Nelson, Nick Atwood, Matt Metler, Craig Davidson, and then Don Day rounds out the field, or rounds out the top 10. He is out of the race. Dave Hunt, William George, and TJ Elaine round out the field. Rather, they are also out of the race. But Garrett Kinder gets the job done here in Phoenix. We're going to go ahead and bring Garrett in here while he burns it down. We'll give you the chance to burn it down for sure, but, I mean, it is well deserved.
I can multitask. What's up?
Man, I tell you what, you led more than anybody throughout the course of this race. Was there anybody that even, in your mind, posed a threat?
Rooster definitely did. He was right there on my bumper, for the most of that last run. He ended up, I think, tapping apron and dropping back about a second and a half. But there towards the end, he definitely reeled me back in. So I think if he could have kept right there on me, because he reeled me back in, he probably could have got around me because I was fighting loose like crazy at the end.
Yeah, we saw a big mistake out of you within the last 10 laps that actually gave Rooster the chance to gain about a second on you. Walk us through that quick moment and then what it took to recover from that and keep him behind you.
Which one are you talking about? Because there was a lot of moments.
There was definitely a lot of moments, but man, I'm thinking about 3-4 to go. You got super sideways coming up off of turn number 2, and Rooster came from about 1.4 back to within 0.6.
I had done a good job about throttle control and keeping stuff, somewhat straight as much as I could. Just got a little antsy, and I saw him back there, and I think he had made up a 10th on me through 3 and 4, so I tried to goose a little bit coming up off, and just bust a little sideways. I prefer a loose race car, but there towards the end, it was a little ridiculous.
Yeah, it didn't look fun, but it looked good enough to get the job done. And before we let you go, is there anybody you want to thank for such a strong performance and getting the job done?
Yeah, of course, I want to thank Kinder Farm and Ranch Ratchet Speed Shop for making this Ford Mustang tick. It's they do a great job sponsoring me, family, and just love having their support. Big Frig and Cross 5 cattle coolers. If you want to keep your stuff hot and keep your stuff cold for cheaper and longer than anybody else, make sure you check out Big Frig and Cross 5 cattle coolers at bigfrig.com. Ray Page and Andy over at Wolfpack Racing, some excellent guys I know in the industry. So if you run across them, stop and say hello. All my teammates through the various leagues I run in, Reaper Racing, Poman Motorsports, and Velocity Motorsports. So big shout out to you for broadcasting. Thanks to the league for putting this thing on and giving us somewhere to race on a Friday afternoon or Thursday. What is today? Friday? Today's Friday.
Oh,
Friday
it's Friday.
afternoon.
I work overnights, man. I know how that goes.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you joining us up in the booth. And Garrett, I tell you what, you talked about how this wasn't going to be a race you looked forward to. You hate this track, but you got it done here today. We're going to send you back, let you go celebrate. Congratulations once again on your victory here today at Phoenix.
Thank you.
I cut him off just a bit short there, but we've got Rooster Rodden in second place. Rooster Tell you what, man, you looked super strong in those last couple of laps. Is there anything you think you could have done to catch up to that 13 machine in front of you?
Uh, get good. Basically on that one. Nah, it just I have a consistency problem, and it showed right there. Obviously at the start of it, and then coming to the end of it, there I touched the apron, and that's how we got that gap between us. And slowly but surely, I ran him back down. Kept having some more small mistakes from there to the end of it, and just ran out of time and everything. It just I don't know if I could have done anything different. I just know that I had a shot to win it there, and then it's just me being me. Who knows of just letting it slip through just that much. It's right there, and then it's like, no, you're not going to get it.
I mean, you definitely got close. You had a strong run here at the end, but this is your 4th top 10 in 4 races, your 3rd top 5 in 4 races. How do you feel about this momentum moving on into next week? Are we running Coda? I believe it's Coda.
I would say that we are, because we're following the officials schedule for iRacing. So I would say that we are, unless for some reason we think that it might not produce any good racing like we've had today and at Auto Club and at Vegas. So it all comes down to that. Christian will probably test it, but going into that, I like road courses. I love running stock cars on road courses, whether it's Cup, Xfinity, or Truck. So I'm hoping we run there. I like running road courses. Would have been awesome to get the win today. I love Phoenix. That's why I ran so good, even though I had the mishap at the start of it there. But this one was an all around awesome, fun race. Garrett loved chasing him down. And I would say running with him, but he had my number the whole race. He was the one that was able to keep it clean and keep it going and stay in front of me there. So it's awesome to try to chase him down and try to get this win and everything, and running with Cody as well, because he come up there after that last caution. It just awesome racing today. That's all I can say about it.
Yeah, absolutely it was. It was a blast to watch, blast to be up in the booth for. But before we let you go, is there who do you want to thank for such a strong performance here today?
I thank all my teammates over at Steel Horse Racing. Awesome group of guys there. I've been with that team now going on 6 years. Wouldn't trade that team for anybody at all. Love those guys. Big, huge thank you to Christian for keeping this league going. There was a chance it might have got shut down a couple years ago, and he's been the main guy to keep it going. I help out, and a couple other admins help out as well. But if it wasn't for Christian, we wouldn't have a league that we'd be running here today. So big thank you to him. Thank you for broadcasting. And I'm going to get a win here at some point. Don't worry about that. I'm going to be in victory lane sooner or later. So hopefully it's sooner than later, though.
Tell you what, you said it. I'm expecting it. You said you were expecting a checkered flag in this one. It didn't quite come today, but we'll see you in the next couple of weeks. Definitely appreciate you joining us, and we'll hopefully catch you next week.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll see you next week. Thank you for broadcasting. It's always a good time.
So that was second place, Rooster Rodden. Doesn't look like we'll be able to get with our third place finisher, Mr. Cody McFadden, in the iBuyPower Chevy Camaro. Sorry for a little bit of graphical display, but there's that 64. Cody McFadden had himself a strong run. Started 4th, finished 3rd, but definitely worked himself through the pack a time or two. But that's going to about do it for us here at Sim Racing Media. I'll go ahead and show you the results here. Garrett Kinder gets the job done at Phoenix. Rooster Rodden in second. Dave Hunt. Nope, that's incorrect. See if this is any better. Got Garrett Kinder, Rooster Rodden. Third place was Cody McFadden. Then we've got Matt Sisler, Rick Helms, Joe Nelson, Nick Atwood, Matt Metler, Craig Davidson, Don Day, rounding out your top 10. Dave Hunt, William George, and TJ Elaine rounding out the field here today. Well, Phoenix definitely delivered. Things got super close here at the end, but the dominant car gets the job done in Garrett Kinder, that number 13 machine. That's going to pretty much do it for us here at Sim Racing Media. We appreciate you tuning in here a little bit after noon for the Midday Racing League. We've got ourselves some good racing going on tonight with the Monsters of Speed Racing League. And yeah, throughout the weekend we've got some more racing with the Dynasty Racing League, the Virtual America Short Track Tour, Sunday Night NASCAR. To put it simply, we've got phenomenal racing 7 nights a week. So go ahead and hit that subscribe, hit the bell so you never miss a race. I'm Liam Ervig, and appreciate you guys tuning in to Sim Racing Media here on YouTube. We'll catch you next time.